Mark. Welcome back to Akira Kizzau. Today we begin issue number 4, Street Fight. Across the street stood a being no heroic, no citizen, no god of Mourn had ever thought they might see again. Alric Karza, a being with no clear racial ancestry who claimed to be unique in all the universe. In his hands rested a sword that housed a being that the fates claimed was a demon capable of defying even the will of the creator. Quinn. Both had been thought destroyed 3 years prior in a battle to save the aspects of Mourn from an invading army of Tarask. Life has a way of giving you pieces of a puzzle, he said, placing a Stetson hat upon his head. My future is erratic. I knew I needed ways to come back from defeat, even death. He tapped the sword. You needn't fear, Quinn. That creature, foul as he genuinely was, is gone. Kizzau watched Ariane and Saya take up positions to either side of the being that had once slain an elder god. Above him, lunar twilight readied some form of nebulous cloud at her fingertips. The wizard they had met was helping people relocate. Above a purple smoke allowed Kizzau to see Pratchett, trying to be brave. Fortunately, the dwarf mimic would only attack if instructed. What do you want? Ariane asked. I count 4 heroics, Karza said. The fates will not look kindly on your gathering. Shame on you. Counting Gertrude and Pratchett, Kizzau said, I think we are fine. Besides, if you don't count them, Lunar is a guest, not part of our regular 3. True, Karza said. Let me be the first to put all my cards on the table. I am angry. The city, he arced his sword over his head toward the city beyond. I want it to be in rubble. Those that defend it, I want you all to fall before this blade. I want to be free. But thanks to the amazing Pantheon, I am tied to the life of Mourn. Then lower your weapon, Ariane demanded. You cannot destroy that which keeps you here. Lowering his blade, Elric Karza smiled at Ariane. I may not wish to be at the end of my existence, but I intend to find some way to be away from all of you. I thought that by allowing others to do the work for me, I might be able to sift and hunt on my own. However, I have learned something most villains never do. And what would that be? Ariane asked. Every encounter this world has had with you has been steeped in chaos, death, and sorrow. Villainy cannot win as long as there is spirit to remove it from the playing field, Karza laughed. Yes, as long as I play this role, I can't escape the destiny of all the other fools that walk the same path, so I will no longer be a villain. Again, Ariane said, lower your weapon and surrender. No, Karza said. You will then deposit me on a prison aspect devoid of contact with anywhere or any being ever again. I want nothing more than to go somewhere and drown myself in what has happened over the eons of my existence, but I will not be cast into solitude. Kizzau nodded and saw Ariane do the same out of the corner of her eye. Salia jumped down in front of Elric, holding her arms up to both parties. Cool it, she shouted. If you're serious about what you say, Elric, then think about this. You have killed 5 heroics with that blade, slaughtered hundreds of Mourn citizens, and if you look to the skyline, you can see the tear where you slaughtered Azathoth. Which means you should be very careful about defusing the situation, Karza said, leveling his sword at Salia. Quicker than Kizzau thought possible, Salia kicked upward at the arm holding the sword. Karza barely kept his hold on the weapon as Salia climbed onto Elric's back to deliver a fast chop to the same arm. A roar of agony came from the immortal villain as he lost control of the arm holding the sword, allowing it to drop to the ground. Twilight swooped down to take the sword, but was unable to lift it. Karza began laughing. You know the Earther myth about Thor's hammer? He chuckled. I sort of took that to heart when my friends remade my sword. There may not be an all-powerful demon residing in it, but only my race can pick it up. And since I am the only one left of my kind, the sword is going to be a paperweight until I come back to pick it up. Without waiting, both Kizzau and Ariane rushed forward. Kizzau tapped her wrist to activate a few vanishing spells that would potentially remove her from Elric's sight. At the same moment, Ariane grabbed both her katana and slashed outward. Kizzau easily dodged backward, but it was part of the desired effect, keeping the villain from his weapon. Zalyu darted in to claw the back of one of Elric's legs, but he was able to swat her away. The blows sent the Warren hurtling into a rooftop. Kizzau saw her sister-in-law reach for the edge of the building in time to keep herself from hitting the sign just above her. "I'm okay. Just need to rebalance." Kizzau watched her wife slash again and again, but Kizzau merely pivoted within the same spot, refusing to budge. Looking for an angle, Kizzau readied both her scythes. One could disarm defensive spells, and the other could take out a simple few technological surprises Kizzau might have. Twilight blasted the immortal in the chest. Swirls of black and lavender tendrils slammed into the villain. He staggered back a few feet. "That felt impressive," Kizzau said, stepping forward, but Ariane was quick to keep him from recovering the full distance to his sword. "It can wait right where it is. Again, none can pick it up." A smirk caught Kizzau's face as the ground around the sword began to lift with the weapon on it. The wizard had been assisting evacuate decisions was now casting a spell to lift the ground upon which the sword rested. The thing about personal enchantments is that unless there's some godlike muscle behind it, then it is limited on how effective it will be. We'll give your crafter credit. This is a lot of ground covered. And with that, I will see you next time with part 2 of issue number 4, Street Fight. Thank you for listening.